2021. Can you believe that we've been around for almost a decade now? And I'm really happy to be a part of this project with Paigham and helping so many businesses out there boost and enhance their sales and marketing and generate leads. I know that it's been a little bit of time since I've put out my last tutorial video, but I wanted to teach you guys a new trick, and I'm hoping that I have some free time coming up. I've been extremely busy over the last couple years. I've had a lot of projects that I've been working on. But I wanted to get back into this and start making some more videos for you guys because I still get bombarded with tons of questions, and I figure if I can make a video that maybe lessen my work a little bit on answering some of the same questions over and over. But on this video, what I want to do is I want to show you guys a really cool little trick for getting email addresses, targeted email addresses. And the question that really kind of got me to decide to make this video was somebody asked me how they can essentially collect information from forums and can they post to forums. So let me answer that question real quick before I show you how to do this trick. No, you cannot post to forums. Most forums, I would say 99.9% of them require some sort of login. With Paigham, you can scrape search engines and you can scrape web pages if you already have the URLs, but you cannot log into forums because each forum is different. Every website is different, and websites that require a login, you need essentially a custom built code or app to do that. If you need a custom built app that can log in the forums and do different functions, we can certainly build a custom app like that. But now with that said, you can still collect information from forums that they have on there. And I want to show you the trick of how I collect email addresses from forums, and you can use this for different things. You'll notice here in the middle of the app that there's different check boxes on information that you can collect. You can collect links to different social media websites and email addresses, contact page URLs, website links from websites. Now what I'm going to do here is not really something that a lot of people probably do or a lot of people know about doing. Kind of a hack to getting email addresses from web pages off of forums. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scrape google.com. Yes, scraping google.com in Paigham works. We get asked this question. Google is a difficult search engine to scrape. A lot of people find it frustrating because it does require proxies and things like that. And so a lot of people will choose some of the other easier search engines to scrape as well, Yahoo or Bing. As you can see here in the drop-down menu for the search engine selection, there's quite a few engines that you can select from. Business directories like Yellow Pages and Yelp and Yell and BBB, etc. But for what I'm going to do today, I'm going to scrape Google. So I'm going to select that engine. Now, with some of the search engines like Google and Yahoo and Bing, you can use what are called footprints. And footprints are essentially search engine operators that define to the search engine. They're kind of predefined queries that you can make to filter search results so it changes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a footprint with a website, in this case a forum that's in the diet and health niche, and I am going to attempt to create a footprint that will scrape email addresses from that forum. And you can become a little bit more creative with your footprints. I always play with my footprints in the actual search engine in the browser before I scrape. That way I can kind of see the results that I'm going to get. But I'm going to give you an example here of what I'm doing with this search. So you can see up here in the keyword box, I have the keyword as site, then the website, sparkpeople.com, and then a space, and then in text, and then the @ symbol Gmail. And essentially what I'm doing here with this specific footprint is I'm instructing Google to give me search results for the site sparkpeople.com. And then with my next footprint attached to that, I'm telling Google to make those search results ones that have links to web pages that have in the text of that web page the @ symbol and Gmail. So if all goes well, I should be able to scrape email addresses from the web links that I scrape from Google. Now, this is going to be a couple different steps for me to actually get the email addresses, but we're going to walk through this step by step. If I was trying to really maximize and optimize this scrape, I would probably utilize several footprints. If I was going, for example, if I really wanted to dig into the sparkpeople.com, I would use a similar footprint for a keyword in the in-text, but I would change what's on the in-text. For example, I may change into @Yahoo or @Hotmail or @Outlook. And by utilizing all of these different email extensions for the in-text footprint, I'm going to really maximize the results that I'm going to get from Google on the links that I get, which means there's more pages that I'm going to be able to scan and collect emails from. So with that said, I guess let's get started here. Let me show you how this works. I have everything all set up. I have my throttle set. I'm not going to use any proxies. Normally when you scrape Google, you're going to want to use proxies, but there's only going to be a couple hundred results with this one keyword footprint combination that I'm using. So if you're not going to really dig into Google and get, hundreds and thousands and tens of thousands of websites, you don't really need to use any of those protocols. But if you're going to dig into Google, you're definitely going to want to have to use proxies. Also, you can use the auto-solving CAPTCHA solver. So if Google throws up a reCAPTCHA, the Death by CAPTCHA service, we have an API in the app, and they can solve that reCAPTCHA for you. And typically, you also want to use kind of a long delay to mimic actual search patterns of a human. And that will help you scrape Google. Now, another little trick a lot of people don't know about is if you log into your Google account on Internet Explorer on the machine that you're using Paigham on, you can actually scrape a little bit more in Google without them restricting your scraping or challenging your accessing of those search results, which will help you in the long run as far as not being shown the reCAPTCHA as much and not having to utilize as many proxies. Now this is one of the things that you got to kind of just test out. You got to see what's working. If you're having problems, a lot of times it has to do with the IP address being burned or something like that. But anyways, we can save that for another video. And in fact, there's actually a couple videos that I've already made that explain how that works. So let me get started here. I got the keyword in. I got the search engine selected. My throttle time's already set. I'm going to click start. And you'll notice after you click start, it's just going to have you confirm scraping, okay, and then it's going to do what, oh, I forgot about this part. It's going to ask you if you'd like to auto run the scanner after scraping is completed. No, not for the process that we're running. Now, there are reasons you'd want to use that, but this is not one of the times that I want to use this process. So I'm going to click no. And then the scraping is going to get started. So we'll just be patient for a few seconds. All right, the scraping is complete, and there we go. Now the next step that we're going to want to do after we've scraped the links out of Google is we want to then filter our list. And we can do that by simply going down here to the drop down menu for the reports, And what we're going to do is you'll select the fifth option from the top, which says export scraped URLs. You'll notice that there's one right underneath of that that says the same, except for it says root. This option, the root option, is going to essentially trim the link that you have scraped down to the root domain name. So that's not what we want to do, because we want to be able to use the list that we just scraped, the links, to go to those specific pages that were harvested from Google. So I'm going to click export scraped URLs, the fifth option from the top. I'm going to click generate report. And then I'm going to name this file the links for Spark, because we scraped the Spark People website. You can name your files anything that you want. I'm just doing this for example here to show you. And then the URLs were exported. I'm going to open this file. You guys can see that the file comes out in the text file, and it has all of the links to those web pages scraped out of Google. So now the next step that you're going to want to do is we want to clear the input list into take that out, and then we want to add that URL list that we just scraped. And you'll notice when we click the button to add URL list, there's a few options here that come up. The first option is to scan the web list against whois.com, which contains domain ownership information on there. The second option is the most commonly used option. A lot of people, especially if you're going to do contact form submission on the web links that you've scraped, you would want to select the second option from the top, the search, compare, contact pages, blacklist. And this function is going to get rid of duplicate domains in your list. It's going to also compare those websites in that list to whatever blacklist that you have. And a blacklist would consist of websites that you don't want to contact. You know, maybe it's ones that you've already contacted, or maybe it's ones you want to avoid. So if you're going to have a blacklist, you want to load your blacklist before you add your website link list in through this process. Now, the process we're actually going to use the option, which is the third option from the top, which is post to URL directly. Now, this function is typically reserved for if you're contact form marketing, you already have a list that's already been filtered for contact pages. So you've already done the second option above, or through some process, you've already identified where those contact pages are, and you don't have a blacklist to use. So you would select the third option from the top, which will just automatically load you lists. Then you go to the posting tab, enter your information, start posting. Now, we're not going to actually post to these web links, but this is the process. It's kind of a hack, a life hack on how to get emails from forums, and it works great. You'll see here in a minute. But we will use this third option. If you were only looking to harvest data from the URL, which we could use this option for what we're doing, but there are a little bit of limitations on this process as far as getting some email addresses. So I'm not going to use this process. I think that by using the poster, which also collects data like emails, phone numbers, social media accounts, etc., I think I'm going to be a little bit more successful. And I'm going to leave my message info blank when I go through that process, so no message or information is actually posted. They'll all fail pretty much, but it's going to collect what I want, which are those email addresses. So anyways, I have the third option from the top selected. I'm going to click OK, and then it's going to have me select the text file, which was links for the Spark website. I'm going to load that up there. And then I am going to click OK on that. And you'll notice down here that the tab over here to the right of the scraping start button is the posting module tab. So I'm going to click on that, go to that tab, and then I am going to get rid of all of the data in these info fields, so there's no chance of any of my information or any information. Oops, I forgot the phone number to click delete. Let me do that. Alright, and then I'll come down here to the body and delete this. 1 second. Alright, now once all of that's deleted, you can, it doesn't really matter if you have these checked or not checked, because you can always control what report and what information you're going to collect. You can uncheck them. It will help on the processing a little bit, especially if you're dealing with really big lists. But my list isn't that big. It doesn't matter to me if these are unchecked or not. So I'm just going to click start, and what it's going to do at this point is going to ask me if how many threads I want. I'm going to run 20 threads, and then I am going to click OK, and it's going to start processing those websites on those web links that we just uploaded. And as it's processing that, it's actually attempting to post to the websites, but they're all mostly going to fail because there's no info to post, and forms do require a login, which we're not going to be able to do with Paigham bot. But it's going to go through each one of those website links, and as you can see over here, it's collecting all of the data that it finds on those web pages, and it's collecting quite a few email addresses. So once this is done, which will only take probably about another 20 seconds or so, but what we're going to do after this is done is we're going to export out the report that says export emails. So I'm going to go ahead and select that option, and when this finishes up here, I'll be able to just click generate report, and then the report will come out fresh and clean with my email list. And obviously this is going to be really perfect if I'm marketing to people in the diet and health field niche. These are people that have been posting in a diet and health website, and if I have some type of product or service I want to offer to them, boom, I have a nice email list targeted to that specific niche. So you'll see that we're kind of finishing up here the last few websites, and the process is completed. I have export email selected in the report section. I'm going to generate this report. I'm going to name this emails for Spark, and then I'm going to click save. And then I'm going to open up this file and show you this wonderful email list. Alright, and then I have my email list here come up in a CSV file that I've opened up, and what I want to do is I want to get rid of duplications. I will, in OpenOffice, which is an Apache product, I'll go up here to the data navigation tab, and it's going to give me the option. I'm going to select filter, and then standard filter, and then I will select field name as none, and then more options, and then no duplication, and OK. And then it's going to get rid of all of the duplicated email addresses that were scraped. And let's kind of scroll down here to the bottom of the list. Let's see how many we got. How many emails were we able to collect? We were able to collect over, it's still going, 353 emails. That's pretty good. One keyword, and voila, we have 353 emails that we collected that were in a targeted niche. These were people that were on a diet and health web forum that put their emails in here. So here's the thing, and as you can see, there's a couple bogus emails like this one here that says Gmail at Chuck Norris. And this is the thing, when you scrape emails online, if you want to be successful at it, you have to clean your email list. So there's going to be emails on there that are old, that no longer exist. And if you want to keep your email server with a good sending reputation, you want to keep your bounces down to a minimum. And so you want to ensure that you're using some type of email cleaning service or product to do that. That's going to be very essential to a successful email marketing campaign. Anyways, that's the tip, that's the trick of the day here I'm going to share with you. I hope you guys got something that will help you with your marketing and building targeted email lists. As many of you already know, you can use Paigham Bot for lots of different reasons, whether it's contact form marketing on websites, or using the Facebook module or Twitter module or the Instagram module or the email module. We also recently added an SMS module in there, so you can connect your SMS provider account to Paigham Bot and you can do mass marketing. There's a lot of cool functions and features in there. You can use spin tags with your messaging. You can rotate through accounts on messaging. But anyways, there's a lot of ways that you can use Paigham Bot. It's not just a contact form marketer. It is a search engine scraper. It is a great tool. I would say probably a tool that any serious business should have in their toolbox if you deal with any type of email marketing campaigns, SMS marketing campaigns, social media marketing campaigns, if you're building call center lists, any of that type of marketing, really just marketing in general. There's typically a way to use Paigham Bot for that. This little trick that I showed you, it can work for whether it's business to business or business to consumer. It's just going to kind of depend on the niche that you're doing. But this is a great way to build a great list. So with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and you guys just keep on keeping on.